Today, we are going to explore a story that really pushes the boundaries of what you think is possible. It's a story about a darkness so deep, so absolute, it's not just the absence of light, it's a living, breathing thing. Let's get into the chilling tale of the Curse of Tamas.
So just try to wrap your head around this for a second. A village where the sun hasn't come up in 10 years. It's the kind of thing you would immediately dismiss, right? But it's also the kind of story that's impossible to completely ignore. And that's exactly where our story kicks off.
So that impossible idea is our starting point. Welcome to Act 1, A Village Without a Sun. This is where we get to meet the guy who was brave enough, or maybe foolish enough, to stare right into that darkness.
Let me introduce you to Rohan. He's a city journalist, a facts-only kind of guy. He hears ghost stories and just scoffs. But this legend, the story of Kalyan, the village without a sun, well, that was a mystery he just couldn't resist. So packing all his skepticism, he heads right into the heart of it.
And this is where things get really weird, right away. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, should be broad daylight. But the moment Rohan drives into the village, he's swallowed by a darkness as thick and heavy as the dead of night. And get this, there are no clouds. It's just a wrongness. An unnatural, suffocating twilight.
Once he's inside, the feeling goes from just being strange to something genuinely threatening. And that brings us to Act 2, Silence and Deep Darkness.
The way the story describes this place is just wow. This wasn't just a shadow. It was active. It was predatory. You get the sense that the darkness was literally consuming the light, like it was feeding on it.
So as Rohan looks around, everything is just off. The soil itself is black. The trees, the houses, they all seem to be sagging like they're being crushed by some invisible massive weight. But you know what the worst part was? The silence. An absolute, total lack of sound. No birds chirping, no kids laughing, just nothing. Every single door is shut tight. The feeling is just completely overwhelming. It's more than just quiet. It's a void. The whole village feels like it's trapped in a single, held breath. Or even worse, like every person inside is caught in a dreamless, endless sleep they can never, ever wake up from.
And then he sees something, a sign of life, or something that looks like life. There's an old man sitting on a broken platform, and his eyes are this shocking, milky white. He's the first person Rohan has seen in this dead world, just sitting there, silently crushing dried leaves in his hand.
This encounter brings us straight to the third act, the part with the answers. The mystery of this darkness is finally going to get a name and a really terrifying purpose. Welcome to Tamas, a live-in will. So Rohan finally works up the courage to ask the question we're all thinking. What is this darkness? And the old man's answer is just bone-chilling. He actually laughs at the idea that it's something scientific. He says, this isn't fog, this isn't weather, this is Tamas, an ancient, primordial will. The land itself, he says, begged God for rest, and God gave it its wish, absolute darkness and absolute peace.
And then the old man hits him with this warning. He says Tamas isn't just a thing around them, it's an active force. It eats light, it eats sound, and if you stick around for too long, well, it's going to eat your mind too, pulling you into that same endless sleep as everyone else.
And wouldn't you know it, right as he finishes saying that, the threat stops being a story and becomes terrifyingly real. From the middle of the village, a wave starts spreading out. It's not wind, it's not a shadow. The story describes it as a wave of pure absence, a ripple in reality itself, and it just erases the last little bit of light. This is when the real nightmare fuel kicks in. Rohan turns to run, but that wave of Tamas is coming for him. The very ground under his feet starts to dissolve. It loses its substance, just turning into that same horrifying, peaceful nothingness.
So reality is literally unmaking itself under his feet. What do you even do? Well, that brings us to Act 4, and the core conflict of this entire story, the soul challenge of sound.
As that cold nothingness starts creeping up his legs, something the old man said clicks in Rohan's head. Tamas wants total peace, total silence. So, what's the one thing that can fight absolute silence? Sound. In Sanskrit, they call it nod.
And here's the crazy part. Talk about a lucky break. Or maybe it was fate. Rohan isn't just a journalist. He's also a sound engineer.
His entire job is about creating and capturing sound, and in his pocket, he has a professional digital audio recorder. It's his one and only weapon against the void.
He's got like seconds to act, right? So he just does it. He rips the recorder out of his pocket, cranks the input gain all the way up to max, takes the deepest breath of his life, and he doesn't scream. He lets out one single pure resonant sound,
The result is incredible. The sound hits the recorder's sensor and just overloads it. For a split second, it's pure existence fighting back against pure absence. And the wave of Tamas actually freezes. Right where the sound met the void, a thin, shimmering, golden crack appears in the darkness. The first glimmer of light this village has seen in 10 years.
That single crack of light is the opening Rohan needs. But don't go thinking this is a simple story with a happy ending, because that brings us to our final, deeply unsettling act, the darkness that follows.
Rohan scrambles back to his car and just floors it. As he speeds across the village line, back into the normal, sunlit world, he looks in his rearview mirror, and he sees him, the old man with the white eyes, just sitting there in the shadows, and he's slowly shaking his head. But is he shaking it in defeat or in victory?
And this is the gut punch. Rohan knows deep down he didn't win anything. He didn't beat Tamas. All he did was annoy it. He wounded it. And a thing like this, a primordial world that's existed for who knows how long, it doesn't just give up.
And that's the final, horrifying realization he has. The curse isn't stuck in Kalian village anymore. By fighting back, by making himself known to it, Rohan has become its new target. Now the darkness is attached to him. It's going to follow him, and it's going to try and pull his entire world into that same endless, silent peace.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty uncomfortable thought. The story says Tamas is a will for complete rest, right? For absolute peace and silence. When you put it like that, isn't that a feeling we all have sometimes? That desire for everything to just stop? So it makes you wonder, if a thing like Tamas is real, maybe it doesn't need to follow us from some cursed village. Maybe there's already a little piece of it inside all of us, just waiting.